All right, guys, what's up? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. Now, I have been very optimistic, and rightfully so. Legitimately optimistic, not faking it whatsoever. I'm not one of those guys. I've been very optimistic about XDefiant, and I still stand by my feelings and what I've said and all that kind of stuff. However, there is one worry about XDefiant. And the good news is about that worry is that I'm not worried about it from, like, the worry doesn't come from the developers. The worry comes from the other side, and that is the publisher. And we all know at this point in time, we all know that we don't live in a perfect world, right? We do not live in a perfect world whatsoever. You know, we live in a world, let's be realistic here. This is what's going on here. Like, there's people out there that are content creators and or streamers that are worth multiple millions of dollars. They're going to be fine, and they create, you know, they create a lot of revenue just by their profession alone and stuff like that. And cool, you know, that's cool and all. But yet these people also make deals with companies that are not necessarily the best companies out there for more money, right? Despite the fact that they may not like their game, or they may not like the way they treat the community or whatnot. But hey, an offer is put on the table for them in order to generate more money, despite the fact that they know that this company is a piece of shit and truly doesn't care about the community. But yet these content creators make deals in order to get more money. That's the kind of deal, that's the kind of world that we live in today. We don't live in a perfect world. So therefore, something that is being beautifully crafted, like XDefiant, for instance, right? There is, at least optimistically speaking, a 50-50 shot that it could get ruined from the publisher side. Okay? Because no matter what the developers say, at least after a while, right? It may not happen right away, it may happen later, or optimistically speaking, it may not happen at all. I hope this video, in terms of what I say, I hope none of the bad stuff happens at all, and I hope history doesn't repeat itself in terms of what's happened in the past, which I'm going to get into in a minute. So, this has been kind of in the back of my mind, so to speak, but I've been given the publisher as well as the developers the benefit of the doubt, and rightfully so, because so far they've been doing everything right and flawlessly so far. Now, with that being said, I received a comment recently on one of my most recent videos about the community jumping ship from Call of Duty to XDefiant, and the comment that I received was that people are literally trading one evil for another. In other words, you know, going from Call of Duty to another evil called XDefiant, so to speak. And I responded and I said, can you please explain? And the response I got was, and I quote, "You really need me to tell you the misdeeds of Ubisoft? Every franchise that Ubisoft has started, or at the very least has had a hand in, has gone down the drain at the first outing or not long after, just like the other two, Activision and EA. Even if XDefiant is everything you ever want in a COD clone, it won't last, for the same reason the golden years for COD or Battlefield didn't last." And I'm not going to lie, the gentleman has a point. The gentleman has a point. I know that there's going to be a lot of us that are not going to want to hear it. I mean, hell, I don't even want to talk about it, right? But it's the truth. It's the absolute truth. There is a possibility that XDefiant may be ruined at some point in time for the purposes of greed. That's how Call of Duty was ruined. Call of Duty was beautiful. Call of Duty was thriving. It was great. But no, it wasn't enough. Just like for these content creators, right, that I'm talking about, and I don't have to say any names. We already know who they are. Just like these other content creators that are already worth millions and they have sponsorships or getting donations or getting a shit ton of money from the ads from streams and all that other shit, their videos that they make, okay. But even that is not enough, right? They're gonna, you know, they're offered seemingly really good amounts of money for a deal to be in some sort of partnership with them, right? Which obviously would get people to buy more stuff from the store or play their game more, whatever it is, right? This fact that even if these content creators don't necessarily like the publisher, and they know that they don't really care about the fan base, and all they know is all they care about is money, and they're willing to like manipulate everything and everybody, including the game itself, in order to make more and more of it. That's all they care about. You know, we're not human beings to them. We're consumers in the form of puppets, so to speak, right? And these guys want to control the strings as much as possible. And these creators are helping them do it. Even though they may not mean to, and all they want to do is put more money in their pockets, they're actually being a part of the problem. And, you know, and I really hate making videos like this sometimes, because it goes towards the negativity side of things, which I mentioned was the reason why I stopped making Call of Duty content in the first place. But this video is an exception to the rule because it's something that needs to be said. It needs to be mentioned. And at the same time, I wanted to release it now, not just because I got the content, the comment very recently before recording this, but also because of the fact that we need to be reminded that we need to be cautiously optimistic of anything good coming out, because we've seen the other side. We've seen something beautiful in the form of Call of Duty that slowly got ruined year after year, getting worse and worse in front of our very eyes before it turned into what it turned into today, right? So we don't want this to happen with XDefiant. Right now, XDefiant is damn near flawless, right? In terms of everything, in terms of the transparency and stuff like that. And again, this is not me talking about the developers. This is about the publisher. It's the publisher I'm worried about. I'm not worried about Mark Rubin and company. I'm not worried about Aches. I'm not worried about those guys that are creating the game. No, these guys truly know what the hell they're doing. But just like we all have, most of us have a boss we have to answer to, right? If we went up to our boss and I said, hey, this is something that could really benefit the company, it'll really benefit the consumer, you know, it's going to take us a little bit of time in order to get to the kind of profit that we want to get to. But at the end, everybody will win. And after this X amount of time, it's going to have a domino effect and it's going to be amazing for the company. But if the boss says no, there's nothing we can do. No matter what our ideas are, no matter how good they are, no matter what the intent, whatever, it's just not going to happen. Okay. All at this point, it's very difficult to create something beautiful like XDefiant or like what a Call of Duty used to be, right? But it is much, much easier to destroy it or to compromise it, right? For the sake of money, excuse me, for the sake of money and for the sake of profits. Now, to be fair, this doesn't only happen in the gaming and the streaming world. No, this happens in real life. It happens in everything. Every single subject you can think of, this happens. Every single category, every single profession, you name it, it happens everywhere, right? So the thing is, at this point, as somebody who myself is optimistic about the game, right? I would like it to be perfect. I would like this to be the Cinderella story that ends up like being the perfect story, to where other publishers and other people out there could be inspired by this game and such, and everything turns around for the better. The publisher is happy and thriving more than ever. The gamers are happy and thriving more than ever. Everybody's creating an amazing amount of content. Everybody's growing on YouTube. Everybody's Twitches are getting bigger, or their streaming platforms are getting bigger and stuff like that. And a lot of positivity coming out of it. A lot more creative things are coming out of it. Better games are coming out of it, and everything is just thriving like never before. But again, greed is poison, and as long as greed continues to exist, we're going to have a problem. So let's not forget about the fact that greed doesn't exist. That's all I'm trying to say. We need to be cautiously optimistic, because all it takes is Ubisoft to go back to their old ways, which I'm not as familiar with, but I really don't need to be at this point. I'm pretty sure it's a similar story to what we've seen in other jobs, in other categories, as I've discussed, in other walks of life, or in what we've seen with Activision and EA, as the gentleman in my comment section was referring to as well, as an example as well. So, and like I said before, we've seen Call of Duty, and we've seen Call of Duty fall apart slowly year after year in front of our very eyes, right? So, and there's been so many things that have gone into that made that happen, right? But at the basis of it all is greed. Money and greed. Simple as that. So let's not forget about the world that we live in. Can we improve it and make it a better place? Yes, but it's going to create teamwork. It's going to need teamwork in order to do it. We're going to need a lot of teamwork in order to do it. And the thing is that there's also going to have to be big players out there that are not affected by greed, that are going to need to help in order for that to happen. So at this point right now, all I got to say is that we have to somehow, yes, be cautiously optimistic, hoping for the best, and being optimistic about it. But we have to somehow find a way to protect the game that is going to be releasing. We need to protect XDefiant. We need to support XDefiant, but in the right way, right? For the right purpose and everything like that. So, and I just kind of wanted to make sort of a reminder video because I was reminded, and it was like, yeah, the thing that was on the back of my mind now is in the forefront of my mind, and it's like, yeah, it is important. It's not something we can forget. We can't just be like, oh, doo-doo-doo-doo. No, we need to remember. Okay, so let's not forget what happened with COD, and what can we do as a community? This is the question I want to pass off to you guys as I close. What can we do as a community, as a united community, to protect the game from basically the BS that happens that is rooted around money and greed? You know, if it's done correctly, if the game succeeds correctly without, you know, all the BS that gets implemented, like EOMM, like Call of Duty had the EOMM, they had the loot boxes, they've got all the other stuff, whatever. You know, how do we protect this game, right? So, I don't know. Some people, I'm sure in the comment section will say, whatever we do, we gotta not let XDefiant become create a battle royale, or else it's fucked, or something like that. I don't know. But I'm sure somebody was probably thinking of it, so I just thought I'd mention that for a split second here, because I was actually going to make a video talking about something a little bit different than this somehow, but it could have gone into this conversation. But anyway, that's all I got for this one. I didn't want to make this video too long, but I wanted to make it long enough to where I wanted to get everything out there. So passing it off to you guys, what can we do, if anything? And what do you think will happen? What do you think your opinions are of this? And again, I'm not worried about the developers. I'm worried about the publisher. So let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you willing? Are you 50-50 in on this and just playing it by ear and see how it goes? Let me know. Thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.